Welcome, everybody, to another wonderful Wednesday Parsec webinar. We are so excited to have all of you here. Thank you for joining us today. Every Wednesday at 10 a.m., we bring together voices from across education to share what's working in the world and spark ideas that you can take back to your schools and make happen. For the next 30 minutes, we've got three goals. They're super simple. Number one, we hope you enjoy the conversation. Number two, we want you to walk away with at least one new insight. And number three, we're going to make meaningful connections. So you are free to come off onto camera, come off mute, talk and participate and be a part of the conversation. I am Kim Tumambing, Marketing Coordinator at Parsec Education. And for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to be your host, but we are excited to have a couple of guests with us presenting today. And we want to hear from you. Your thoughts and conversation mean so much to what's going on and being a participant in this actual webinar. So thank you for joining us today. I want to remind you guys of a couple of things going on at Parsec. So first off, if you didn't see the webinar last week, I highly encourage you to come back to it and visit it. The webinar last week was with the amazing Miss Amy Alzina, and she was talking about AI and implementing it into your school and how that works. She gave some great information, so you can catch up on that on our website and on our YouTube page where all of our past webinars are living. Next week, we hope you will join us for the amazing Liz Norton and being incessantly relentless leader in the age of AI. We've got some great information again for how you can implement and roll out your own AI platform in your school. So just join us. These are great webinars coming up and in the past, and we're always here with an archive if you missed one. We also want to remind you that we've got our summit coming up, which is super exciting. The Parsec Summit in February is an opportunity to collaborate with schools all over California, talking about issues they're facing, ways they're tackling things. This year, our theme is strategically aligning your board administration and elevating student voice so that both of those parties can hear from students and really strategically align around the things that will most impact students. So we've got great breakout sessions. We hope you will join us for those. Bring your questions about your Parsec products because we are ready to answer them. And there's some time to meet with boards that are changing the way their schools, districts do schools. So we hope you'll be there with us. And we've got a great price on our tickets right now. If you buy three, that bundle is only going to be $100 each for the tickets. If you buy more than three, it's $100. But if you want the exclusive offer, our Parsec partner offer is $199 if you're coming by yourself. But we encourage you to bring the whole team because that's how we make change. So really excited today, guys, to intro you to our speaker. First off, we have the amazing Miss Summer Whitley, who's going to be leading us through this conversation. I'm sure you're no stranger to her as she gets all around California getting to hang out with all of you. But we also are joined today by Dr. Ramiro Rubalcaba, Superintendent of Los Nietos School District in Whittier, California. With almost 30 years in education, starting as an instructional aide, teacher, principal, and now superintendent, he is dedicated to building safe and inclusive environments where every student feels like they belong and can thrive. And under his leadership, Los Nietos continues to raise the bar on academic success. Welcome, both of you. We're excited to hear what you have to share today. And with that, Summer, I'm kicking it off to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Kim. I'm so excited to be here this morning, specifically with Ramiro Rubalcaba from Los Nietos, as Kim mentioned. I think one thing that we have in common, not just with Parsec, but what you'll learn about Ramiro today is his passion and his love for his students and being able to base his decisions off of hearing from his students and his communities. So welcome, Ramiro. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, happy to be here. Happy to contribute to this important dialogue. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, today we're focused on being able to make change and specifically impact things like chronic absenteeism and suspension rates, which we know have been a challenge post-pandemic for the majority of districts and school leaders. So to start the conversation today, can you just set the stage for us? as far as like what your district's chronic absenteeism and suspensions rates looked for before the work began.
Sure. So when I first became superintendent, 22, 23 school year, our baseline for chronic absenteeism was roughly 33%. And so we asked ourselves, is that acceptable? When kids are not in school, they can't learn. Our attendance rate, after the pandemic was below 90%. Our suspension rate was around 2 to 3%. And so we said, okay, how can we do better in regards to culture, climate that we know influences academic achievement? So we had some really hard conversations and made some big decisions. And I'm very proud to share that since then, our chronic absenteeism went from 33% down to 20%, down to 14% for this past year, and the data will become available soon. Our suspension rate went from, roughly 2, 3, 4% down to 3%. Now we're less than 1% for this school year. On the flip side, our attendance rate went from 89% up to 91, 93, 94, and now we're sitting at 95%. Really happy about those particular outcomes, along with some other indicators that we're seeing some growth. But it really took some very courageous strategic decisions on our part, and I'm super proud of the team because it really does take a village.
It does, absolutely. And thank you for sharing too, not just the honesty around what the data and the outcomes are and being able to own those, but know and understand the growth and the impact that that has when it comes to student outcomes. So second question for you is, we're talking about, being courageous and making changes. What was the turning point or catalyst that you made that made you realize what was needed, and what steps did you take in order to respond to that?
So myself, decided, learning that organizations are designed to give the very outcomes they were designed for. So we really had a question. The goal hasn't changed. The goal is the same. We want students to succeed. We want students to do well. We really had to look at our systems and processes. Were they efficient? Were they a standard of excellence? Were they giving us the outcomes we wanted? And then it really boiled down to, are the people leading those efforts the right people? Or are they too comfortable? Do they have skill set? Are there gaps in their training? So I began to assess the organization together with the team, we identified that there were some key changes to our systems. One of them being automating some of our programs, right? Like, for example, take attendance. Our staff, because we're a very small school district, really struggled to get letters out for those students who are chronically absent, really struggled to make contact with families because they were overwhelmed with the amount of volume when you had 33% out. So we partnered up with an external partner who automated our systems, made us far more efficient, and then allowed for the people power to be able to do what matters and connect with parents, connect with students, do those home visits. As a result, it's incredible to go from 33% chronic absent to 20 in 1 year, and then down to 14 for the current year. That's incredible. But it did take some courage to move some people along out of the organization and then move the right leaders in to be able to take the ball and run with it. Because no matter how strategic your plan is, how amazing your vision is, how awesome all these different products that you may have, it's people who do the work. So selecting the right people and supporting them. And my philosophy is leaders do their best and help others be their best, right? And then get out of the way. You got to give people the capacity, the trust, the space to do the work, and then let them go. And they will fail. There will be times where they fall short, and that's okay. If they care, they're going to get it right. So, I mean, think about Formula 409, right? We kind of joke around that myth. It took 408 attempts before Formula 409 was right. So, those are some of the key things that we looked at as a team and some big changes that we made. And then the other big change I would say that was the catalyst was really focusing on culture. Culture eats, strategy, curriculum all day long. We really wanted to create the most positive, safe environment for students, families, and staff. So we invested in building our capacity around PBIS, restorative practices, making sure that everybody felt positively supported and belonged and connected and succeeded. So those were some key things that helped push us in the right direction.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Ramiro. And again, Parsec, we always go back to the data just to share a few stats with you as we transition into the next question, centered around some of those changes that you made and programs you implemented. But students are 7 times more likely to be motivated to learn when they feel like they have a voice, 8 times more likely to experience engagement in school when they have a voice, and 9 times more likely to experience purpose in school. And one of the things that I love, and Kim, if you don't mind going to the next slide, is what you were able to do by implementing very creative solutions, specifically a karate program. And so I want you to share with us now how this karate program has impacted students and improved family engagement within Los Nietos.
Yeah, thank you for that, Summer. You're absolutely right. We really had to look at what are we offering, what are some of the things that kids and families are very interested in, and how can we bring that to them at no cost, right? So one of the concerns that surfaced is, bullying continues to be a problem across the U.S. And one of the reasons why children do not come to school is they're afraid. They're afraid to be picked on. They're afraid to be humiliated. They're afraid to be physically attacked. And the list goes on and on and on. So my own children were in the martial arts, are black belts. My wife's a black belt. I'm a black belt. And I have seen what the martial arts has done to build the confidence of my own sons, my own family. And we have this saying, a family that kicks together sticks together. So we do the martial arts together. And I saw my children just grow in confidence, my own sons. And I asked myself, well, if this is good for my children, why is it not good for the students I love as my own children? So I partnered with Red Dragon Karate, a very famous karate company. Their CEO is Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. And I said, how would you like to work with the school district? And he was like, I would love that. So we started off by bringing like anti-bullying assembly with him, and kids were so excited to meet more, Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. And a lot of parents and students are like, we really want to continue this. And I said, you got it. Now we have close to 200 students practicing the martial arts in my school district. And you'll hear from them, I'm assuming from this video clip, but you'll hear some feedback on just how much they like it. And I'll tell you, our suspension rate went down. People were afraid. Well, aren't you afraid that fight clubs are going to start? And no, it's the opposite. They are trained to have self-discipline, to know how to use their words to de-escalate, to be confident and know what to do if somebody does try to bully them. And then, God forbid, if someone were to attack them in the community, they have the self-defense skills necessary to protect themselves. And parents love that. Children love that. And one of the things I love the most is that we have students who are autistic, special needs, who are not the most popular kids, now thriving. Kids who are nonverbal, now leading a class. And it's just like, that's the power of doing something that is unique, that is truly meeting the needs of kids. So I think we have a little video to show.
Go ahead, Kim. It really is too cute not to share. I was able to come visit in person and see the students just absolutely enjoying it. And I know the students are the focus, but even in the background, you had parents, remember, just lining the back wall, coming and engaging. So it's not just an ELOP program or after school program for the students, but it's a way to get the parents engaged too.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. We have every session at each school site, we have to set up 20, 30 chairs for parents because they love it. And so, it became like, do we want that many parents on campus? And it's, yes, we do. Some people were freaking out like, oh no, that they're gonna wander and they're gonna go. And it's like, no, we'll set up some guidelines for the parents. Some parents are like, I want to do karate too. And I'm like, I'm sorry, kids, but you can totally join, outside. And it just really has helped motivate. It's so cute to see the kids. They wear their karate shirt to school because they're so proud of it, right? And they're like, they want to go to school. They're like, I can't miss school, Mom, tomorrow. I have karate. The sensei said I have to be there. So how do we find unique ways to motivate children like the karate to show up for school? And so we're very proud that we're one of the very few, if only, school district that I'm aware of that has a full-blown karate martial arts program for its students at every school site. And it's been great. It's been absolutely awesome.
What I love and I really appreciate about what you're doing with this is you're not treating education as it's linear or one size fits all, but you're actually implementing programs that allow students to find something that they can connect with, that they can be passionate about, and then that gives them their sense of of purpose and their why for showing up each day, which is absolutely amazing. If you don't mind, can you share the story that you shared with me about your student that broke the board at the end of the year, and just the kind of impact that had even on the parents?
Yeah, so once again, we serve special needs populations. We're at 20% students with an IEP. And so we want to be very mindful. And so we had a student who was struggling, was a little bit afraid, was struggling with some bullying and what have you. And we invited the parents to come down from the stands, hold the board for their children, and the student was kind of in tears, like, I don't think I can do this, Dad. And the dad was coaching him through, yes, you can, son. I'm here for you. And when the instructor said, all right, everybody, on the count of three, and he punched and broke through his board, he immediately started crying. And then so did the dad. And we all saw it. And I mean, because there was like over 100 kids, but it was just so beautiful. And they were hugging and in tears. And it was just this moment about the message was, as you broke through this board, you will break through problems and challenges in life because you will have challenges in life. Life gets more difficult as we get older, and our job is to prepare you for high school, college, career, the world, life. And then that student shared, and then mom shared that he was having a little bit of trouble with bullying, and some kid was giving him a hard time, and he was able to use his karate and his strategies to say, "Hey, leave me alone. I don't like this. I'm going to get some help." And he was able to resolve it to where the kid ended up apologizing, and they ended up becoming like friends. And it's typical behavior, but he actually referenced and used the karate strategies. And mom let me know, and she was in tears, and she was like, that's why this program is just so powerful, because it helps our children, go through and be prepared for life, because they do have challenges even at a young age. So we were super happy and proud about that as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Ramiro, for sharing that. It's just it's so touching, but yet it speaks to you invested time and energy and effort into these programs and into your students. And then as a result, and Kim, if you can move on to the parent engagement, your parents then engaged and gave back. And so we were able to partner with Dr. Rubalcaba, and we sent out a real campaign to his parents of the karate program over the last week. And I just wanted to share with you some of the feedback that we actually received from his parents and the impact that it's made. So, of the top themes that came back of the reoccurring information, parents said that karate fostered a community and social connections. And I think that speaks to what you were talking about already, specifically, even with your special ed students. So being able to have a place where they can build relationships within the school and provide opportunities to meet other parents and even foster a sense of belonging, right? It takes a village. We're doing it together. Karate programs enhance discipline and responsibility. So I'm sure that is what contributed to the attendance and the suspension rates being lowered as dramatically as they were. But they said the program was for parents, a place where instilling a sense of discipline and responsibility in their children became prevalent. And many of them noted improvements in behavior and a focus on the schoolwork. So, to all of our educational leaders, when we talk about that focus, giving them these physical outlets, even where they can then balance that with what they're doing in the classroom. Ramiro, did you want to comment there at all?
Yeah, so we have, in addition to that, the martial arts training, a lot of the lessons are focused around attitude, discipline, respect, listening to your parents, being kind to your siblings and classmates and what have you. and they actually get homework, a little bit of homework that they have to do these acts of responsibility that, if the sensei finds out that they're not doing well in school or something's going on, they're going to deal with him. And nobody wants to disappoint the senseis, right? And we recently had students coming in from other parts of the world that don't speak English. And the senseis did a really good job connecting with some of our newcomers, and making them feel part of. And I don't know about you, but when you're in a new environment, especially coming from another country, you don't speak the language, you don't have friends, but you find out that there's a martial arts program and you jump in. Now I'm part of this large group of classmates. We have something in common, we have a uniform. Talk about a good way to onboard new students and make them feel welcome. So when you talk about culture and climate, people think, okay, wait a minute. Aren't these kids like eventually gonna like punch each other? And yeah, but it creates this sense of family and community because we're doing it to help each other become better human beings. And that's the nice thing about the martial arts. And then talk about college and career readiness. When a student earns their black belt, which our students will, they will be able to say that less than 1% of the world's population has a black belt. I can demonstrate to you the importance of grit, perseverance, not giving up. And they learn things like quitters never win and winners never quit, right? And I can and I will and I did. And those are life lessons that I learned and I paid for my doctorate, very expensive at USC, fight on. But these kids are getting servant leadership
Yeah.
lessons at a very young age. So super excited about that.
Yeah, and I think that leads into the last theme that the parent shared, and that is it boosted students' confidence and self-esteem, right? So they found them willing to engage in new activities, and then being able to see a boost in that confidence. And I think to your point, Ramiro, that was across the board.
Oh yeah.
Newcomers, special ed students, the generation or the general population as a whole across the board saw that.
Yeah.
Would you mind sharing the next few slides of parent engagement? So just to kind of call out a few of the highlights and what parents shared is they said it made a difference by giving their child confidence. It helped them become more connected as a family to the school and taught them teamwork. They noticed their child becoming more responsible with their belongings, which if we have any parents in the room, like that's a big one. Just being able to get out the door and have the backpack and the shoes can be a huge milestone. And then it had an impact and it made them feel as though they prioritize self-defense. So just even the safety training around that, and knowing that they're not just being taught academics, right? So it's a true holistic approach to education.
Yeah.
So as we move into just a few more, another mom said that my daughter's more confident. She approaches new activities with confidence, and then it even impacted a child's personality. So we know that seeing that light sometimes go out in our children's face can be really, really hard to handle and not know what to do. So to have these outlets and these resources can be a huge impact. So as we lead into the last question, Ramiro, what you did, and we started out this conversation, so we'll circle back, took a big, courageous step for going against the grain and creating something that hadn't been done before. We always like to leave our leaders with a key takeaway. So, if you don't mind, we know change isn't easy, but for those listening who may feel uncertain about trying something new, what's one piece of advice that you would share for next steps in order to do something like what you've done?
Yeah, I think it's really important for every leader to know their community. You know, what's the context of your community so that you can be responsive to their needs. And in our community, we identified that wellness was very important. So we created the karate program. We have walking clubs in the morning where students start the day with physical activity to combat childhood obesity, diabetes, and parents get to walk with their kids and talk with their kids. We have wellness rooms in each of our school sites. We promote physical activity for students and staff. They get discounts on gym memberships and what have you. We have entire wellness weeks dedicated for our staff. And when you focus on the whole child and wellness for our community, which is a big, big need, the community responded in great support. So I would say number one, be strategic and really get a pulse of knowing what your community needs so that you can really focus in on meeting their needs. Number two, it's the greatest resource is the human resource. Make sure that you have the right people leading the work. When you have the wrong people leading the work won't get done, but it also drags the organization. And there's
Mm.
research that shows that high performers lift up even your mediocre or low performers exponentially. So you want to have these high performers, a standard of excellence, be your guiding, force. And your North Star needs to be, we're all here for student success. We're here for kids, right? So be courageous to have those hard conversations, move on people, and bring in the right people, right? So be super strategic, but also just do it. Like, don't be afraid to do what's right. Martin Luther King said the time is always right to do what is right. And when you love and you bring that love and your values from home to work, great things happen, right? So do your best, but help others be their best. And like I said earlier, get out of the way. Let the organization run because the greatest legacy of a good leader is the leaders you leave behind and the work that can continue. Because if a leader leaves and the work falls apart, then there was a leadership gap. But if you build the capacity of the village to sustain the work and you build the people around you, then it's like, we did this. It's not here's superhero who did it. It's we did this. And if you have to leave, move on, retire, win the lottery, move on to the island that we were talking about earlier, the work will continue.
Mm.
And your community will be better for that. And you can sleep better at night because you are living what you believe. So that's kind of my best advice for leaders. And I hope that helps.
It does, Ramiro. And Shanna, to answer your question, this is Los Nietos School District. Thank you, Ramiro, for joining us. We want to leave you with just two thoughts. One is a question, if you wouldn't mind shifting to the question, Kim. And this is just something for you to take away and think on as you leave today. But if you had access to unrestricted funding, what solution or program would you bring to your district? Having those conversations and those thoughts, and then being able to put the right people in place around that is where it all started. And then last but not least, as we leave you, Kim, can you go to the slide on the cohort? As we mentioned, hearing from students, hearing from parents, having a way to directly hear from your community is extremely important in the way in which we make decisions. We never want budget to be a restriction for any of our partners. So even down to the smallest of the small districts, we have a small LEA cohort that allows you to join together with a few other districts and leverage Parsec Real in order to truly hear feedback, as Dr. Rubalcaba shared with us today. So thank you again, Ramiro, for joining us. Thank you for all of your great work. We appreciate you. And we're always here if anyone has any questions. But have a wonderful Wednesday, guys.